Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Beacon Breakdown. As always, I'm Mike, and this week I'm joined by.
Weston, CQ9, Cheetah Quick 9. I have to actually split the two tags.
Yes, CQ9 when Cheetah Quick 9 doesn't fit, right?
Correct.
That's how it
Correct.
is.
Yeah.
Um, so first off, we're gonna kind of do a little recap of the last week of action.
hmm
Taking a look at League of Legends, they picked up a 2-1 win over Defiance. Good win there after dropping game one. They were able to come back into it and
hmm
take the series. In Smash Bros. Action, you guys took on Bethel White
We
this
did.
past Tuesday. How was that match?
We took on Bethel White, so we won the first round, and then the next round actually went to them. We started having internet issues, and we decided to play through it anyway on the third round. It ended up costing us a little bit, but we ended up getting those actually solved for the third round. So third round was perfectly fine, and we did manage to take it out over them with a 2-1. So,
Nice.
I mean, good played. So internet issues aside, it was
Right.
it was a good match.
Always good to pick up the win, and you guys have been doing pretty well in the NECC,
Yeah,
right?
we've been doing pretty well.
Um, Taking a look at Rocket League, they did suffer two defeats to Mountain Union. They played them actually both in the GOEC and NECC in the
Oh
same
my
week,
word.
so
Yeah.
always tough when you get those double headers. But Mountain Union is the best team in the GOEC, so to keep it close, only lose 3-2. I think that definitely a lot to build on heading into LAN for
Mhm.
those guys there. Taking a look at Overwatch, our Beacon team picked up a 3-1 win over A State, and you actually might have some insight on
I
that one.
was there for that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That was my first time commentating Overwatch here at Valpo, but I have been playing. I have been on the club team and I've been playing on my own. So that was actually a really fun match to watch. It got really spicy towards the end. A lot of really fun plays to watch. A lot of crazy stuff
hmm
happened. So that was a good time. That was a good time to watch.
Yeah, always good to see Beacon pick up that one. They were really close with A State on the leaderboard, so good to get that edge on them, move them
Yep.
up another spot. Our Shield team continued their dominance. I mean, since a rough start early on, they have just been on a tear. 3-0 over Seneca in the NECC, and then 3-0 over Alma in the GOEC. So they're feeling pretty good about where they're at right now.
Nice. Yep.
So that kind of wraps up all of our, main four teams here.
hmm
So I kind of want to get into a little bit about you and kind of your story.
Ooh.
How did you like first get into like esports and gaming?
Oh man. Um, that depends on how far you want to go back. So that the story of how I first got into gaming is like a long, long time ago. So when I was younger, I actually never had a console, like a game
Okay.
console at all. All
Yeah.
I had was a family PC that had 4
Yep.
gigabytes RAM total, and one of it was already used. So pretty
Yeah.
much all I had was like the very basic games, like the browser games, a lot of, and then eventually convinced my parents to let me get Minecraft and stuff like that, which, did, fun fact, does not run very well when you have a very old computer. Fun fact. But
Yeah.
that's actually where the tag Cheeto Quick 9 came from. It came all the way from back then.
Okay.
I don't even remember how old I was back then, but it stemmed all the way from back then. I made the tag and then I just kept it throughout. So eventually, I played Minecraft for a while. That's again where my tag originated from, and I didn't get into Smash until about 3 years or so ago. That's really the first time like I ever got into esports at all.
Yeah.
I was at a robotics program, robotics center that I would do outside of school, and we were basically pestering the owners of it to get an esports team
Okay.
because there was nothing else like it around, and we managed to pester them into it. They managed to get it, and that is where I first got my start in esports 3 years ago with Smash. I did start with Smash, so that's pretty much where it started. It started like I said 3 years ago with my robotics program out of school.
Yeah, I mean, was the Smash team like, did they decide Smash out of necessity, or was that like a game that you guys wanted and were like interested in?
It was the game that the majority of the people that were interested in joining the esports team there did want to play. So, we ran a poll, and it was also simpler because it was 1v1 instead of trying
That's
to
true.
find a common game between like seven random people out in the wild.
Yeah. So I mean, what were your first impressions like when that team started? Like, had you played other fighting games, or was
I
this
hadn't.
so it was kind of a whole new
It was
experience?
it was a whole new thing. Smash was my first competitive game. And I mean, I've obviously kept with it here, and I've
Hmm.
dabbled in some other ones, but it was when I first started. It was actually first started right when COVID hit.
Okay.
So I actually first my first competitions were online. It was actually kind of similar to how NECC singles works, where you have matches set up and then you play your 1v1s. Those were actually best of sevens because it had to be online, but
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that is where it started. And then a couple years after, we were able to go to our first in-person tournament because the pandemic had finally started to go down a little bit, which was awesome to see. I mean, of course, a pandemic going down is good to see,
Yes.
but
Nobody
yeah,
likes a pandemic, so.
yeah. So ended up going to our first in-person event, and you walk in there and you're like, yeah, I can beat level 9 CPUs. I'm cracked. I'm goated. Yeah. Walk in and see actual like people play, and you go, oh.
Yeah.
Um, I do get to be kind of happy that my first tournament, I did win my first match. I won my first
Nice.
set,
Okay.
so that was fun. I then proceeded to lose the next two, but we don't talk about those ones.
Yeah, no, 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 no. Just the one you won, obviously, because that was
Exactly.
the first one.
Exactly, but that's really how that got started.
Yeah. So, I mean, playing with the robotics team, kind of for 2 years in high school, really, right?
Hmm.
And then, your senior in high school, looking at your options going forward, why did you decide to come to Valpo? I mean, I'm assuming esports played a factor here.
It actually did, yeah. So when I was picking my colleges of what I wanted to go to, I already knew that I wanted to be a mechanical engineering major. And so it was really split between a different school. Um, am I allowed to say the name? I should be fine,
Sure,
right? Yeah.
yeah, you can
Okay.
say
I
names.
wanted to make sure I wasn't
Yeah,
about to like absolutely throw shade on anyone,
yeah.
but
Yeah, no, you're good.
so it was basically a decision between Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology
Okay.
and Valpo. And a lot of it came down to Rose-Hulman had the top engineering, but its esports was super weak, and it was, well, I say weak as in like just weak as in size.
Right.
And then it was also like a 6-hour drive for me. So,
Mhm.
and then Valpo, which had, I mean, not the top engineering, but definitely still good. Like, don't get me wrong, Valpo's engineering is good,
Yes.
but then the esports is a lot stronger. It's actually a lot closer to home. I'm only like an hour and a half away, so if I ever needed to go home, I can during breaks. That makes it convenient. So it was basically a decision between that, and I ended up for some outside reasons as well, but mainly for those big factors, I decided to come to Valpo.
Mhm.
Um, I wanted to enjoy my time a little bit more. I wanted it to not all be academic. So while I technically could have gone for the absolute best engineering program, I figured being close to home and an esports program that is sizable and strong would be better. So I actually picked. So yeah, esports did play a role.
Yes.
It really played a part, and especially actually being able to interact with the esports team before I came really
Yeah.
helped with that because I was able to kind of acclimate myself to the culture and realize, hey, this is a fun place to be. This is a place I could actually like spend my time when I'm outside of academics. So yeah, esports did play a role here.
Yeah. And then what was it like kind of, coming in, obviously, starting college is a big change for anyone, but, coming to Valpo and, joining the esports team, what was those first few weeks and months like for you?
Oh man, it was actually a lot of fun for the esports side
Yeah.
because being able to walk in and just be, wow, this program's a lot bigger than the one I came from, a
Hmm.
lot stronger competition. The one I originally came from, I was the second best player, like on the team. We pretty much it was like solid. This person's the best. This person's the second. But coming here, I'm walking in, I am most definitely not the best player here.
Hmm.
So, and like there's a lot of people that are actually a lot of really close to each other, and close to each other in playing and actually close to each other just as people, which was really cool to me. So, and like in my original one, that's actually where my best friend is from, but that's
Yeah.
pretty much it. We kind of all separated off into kind of pairs and stuff. But here it's just big groups of just basically just family members just all
Hmm.
here. Like we'll go up to get dinner or something. We're bantering like we've known each other for years. I mean, I guess some of them have, but whatever. I haven't, so
Hey, you're getting closer. You're
I
almost
haven't, so it
there.
still counts. But yeah, it is quite a bit different because we are, I mean, we not me, we are just a big
Hmm.
group that's basically like a family around here. So it was definitely a little bit of a culture shock, but in the good
Yeah.
way.
And then, what was it like, I guess, kind of joining the team and like how does that carry over into competition? You have those guys that you're close to, knowing that they're there to back you up in those crew battles
hmm
and those kinds of things.
it's actually a really nice feeling to know that hey, there very well is someone behind you that you can rely on, whether that be in competition or just playing. So the first semester we had the rest of the team sitting in the room while we are competing. So
Yeah.
sometimes having people behind you that you know are like on your side can actually be really nice. I mean, as I was saying, like there were quite stringent rankings in my past team.
Hmm.
So if the first person goes down, like now we know like we have to kind of count on a lower person. But here we don't have that because
Yeah.
we're so much closer, and it's just we can just rely on each other.
No, no official rankings, but I'm sure you're at the very top, right?
Oh, of course,
Yes.
of course, of course.
Oh. Um, and then, this semester you kind of transitioned to, just being focused on one league, only playing NECC mostly. I
hmm
mean, what was the difference like? Was it almost too much playing two times a week the first semester? Do you feel like you can zone in a little more now that you're on once a week?
So that's where I differ from the rest of the team on that.
Yeah.
Um, I played because of where I was and how much I showed up down here basically.
Hmm.
I played in GLEC pretty fairly consistently. I played in NECC fairly consistently. I played in singles. I was down here playing a lot of the time on my free time. So personally, I was fine with playing a bunch of leagues, but that is very different from the rest of the
Yeah.
team's consensus. So splitting it up there did allow us to have the people who didn't want to focus on three different leagues to to only do one. So I bet you if Chris was down here,
Yeah.
he doesn't like to play the game, so he's
He
appreciating
would
not
be very
having
happy about the
he's
choice. Yeah.
appreciating not having to play in two different leagues at once.
Yeah. Kind of diving a little more into you, I guess, what is,
Mhm.
your play style like? Uh, I know some of the characters you play, but I guess,
Yeah.
for anyone that doesn't know, kind of like, what are those characters and what are their, like, approaches and
Okay.
styles?
So I am a pit dark pit main, and I have been since the beginning. So that
Okay.
is yeah, that's a whole different story. But
3 long years, yeah.
yeah, but I do play Pit and Dark Pit, and then I have recently picked up a secondary in Joker. And the reason that I stuck with Pit from the very beginning is just because he fit my playstyle of what I like to do in not just Smash, but a lot of different other games, and also just in real life in general as well. So Pit is kind of your jack of all trades, master of none character. He can do a bit of everything, but he isn't exceptional at anything. And that's kind of my playstyle. I like to be able to do a bit of everything. Is it absolutely ideal? Probably not. In fact, no, it's not. But
Yeah.
that's fine because that's how I like to play the game. And being able to have that ability to, hey, I'm not the best at anything, but I'm also not the worst at anything either. So being able to say I can be competent in everything is really nice to me. And I also diving into that a little further, into the
Yeah.
play style part, diving into that a little further, is there are other characters in Smash that can do the Jack of all trades characters, but I specifically chose Pit because I also enjoy the combo game. I really
Yeah.
like being able to get one hit and being able to have options to like stem it into other ones. Like, I love combo trees. That's why I started picking up Joker because he was a lot of fun to me. He was a lot of fun, and he has combo routes galore. He is a combo character, and I really enjoyed that. So my play style has kind of become a jack of all trades, that once he gets a hit is able to extend it further into more hits and create combos out of it. So,
Yeah.
and Pitt being the jack of all trades character, you can play him in so many different ways, but I've kind of found my niche there of I'm a lot more of a combo centric Pitt as opposed to some other ones that you might see.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I always love, playing and seeing the arrows, seeing the range,
Yeah.
as well as, getting up in there and getting those
Yeah,
combos.
I do like getting in my opponent's faces. I like pressing buttons. I like doing combos, but that's not always an option all the time. But that's where the jack of all trades come in. I can play at that distance and I can get those snipes, which look sick on
They do look
streams, I
very
will
nice,
say.
yes.
They look really cool on streams, but I've been practicing it for 3 years. I hope I hit a couple errors
That's, yeah.
sometimes.
Not
Mhm.
to put you on the spot, but is there any,
Go
highlight
for it.
moment or play here from the pit that you can think of?
Ooh, highlight moments. There actually have been a couple. Not all of them have been on streams. I will admit that. Some of them
We
have
can't
just
get them
been,
all. I
yeah,
apologize,
have
but
no,
yes.
I'm just mean some of them have been when I've been playing by myself.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But some of them have been on streams as well. So I have that really, really nice clip against a Wii Fit where I actually
Yep.
nared the shield, it shield poked, and then launched them and launched the soccer ball into them. I have some other clips where I've gotten like the hard reads into a sick combo and stuff like that. So there have been some really good ones, and like I said, some clips that have been on my own time that haven't been streamed. So you guys didn't get to see all of it, which is
That's
a
true.
bit of a sad, but
Yes, but for anyone watching, go into the clip section on the Twitch. I'm sure you'll find a
Ayo,
couple of CQ9 clips in there and Mega
ayo.
Bomb.
Every
So
once in a while I do something decent.
it's true. More than every once in a while, you do
Yeah.
something decent a lot.
It also depends on your qualification of a clip, of whether it's something sick or whether it's something just silly, because I will also do the silly stuff
That's true. Yeah,
sometimes.
but entertaining regardless.
Oh
Yes,
yes, I have a
yes.
couple silly clips that is it good gameplay? No, but it is silly. And it looks very funny.
We love those clips too.
I love those clips. It's so funny.
One other aspect, I kind of want to touch on is,
Mhm.
everyone always talks about esports, but it seems like, FGC, the fighting game community, is kind of its own separate arm. It's this very
Mhm.
different culture because there are so many in-person tournaments. I mean, what is that like, I guess, that culture of the broader FGC?
The the culture of the broader FGC is actually fairly interesting. So, I mean, as you said, FGCs tend to be a little more in their own world than like say Overwatch and League and stuff like that. I mean, we can even see that here. We're on our own kind of
Yeah,
side of the room doing our stuff and they're over there doing theirs. But then if you dive down deeper into the FGC community as a whole, you have little islands of a bunch of other games. So, but Smash in of itself is really on kind of its own island here because it's not your traditional fighting game.
yeah.
So there's a lot of times it's kind of just your Smash world, your other FGC worlds, and then the
Hmm.
rest of esports as a whole. So it's actually it's kind of interesting to where you get a lot of smaller pockets of communities.
Yeah.
Especially around like your locals, like your local tournaments and stuff. You get
Hmm.
such tight like communities of people that can very well go into a larger group, but a lot of times you just get those smaller circles. And I mean, sure, that can be a little sad to see sometimes, seeing that, hey, my esport compared to these other ones is so much smaller. But it also allows you to create those relationships with people and create those stories with people, which does make competing in these. Although you do generally have to put in some effort to get into those little circles, it can be a lot of fun being able to get into the circles. So.
Yeah, I mean, talking a little bit more about, locals, I know that's a
Mhm.
big thing. I mean, how much of a role did that play in your, like, Smash career, I guess?
A lot. That actually made quite a bit of a difference. So, I mean, when I went to my first tournament, I only won one of my sets, and that was my first time walking into this community, and I didn't really know what was going on because I was pretty much brand new to Smash. I had been
Yeah,
playing for like less than a year. All
yeah,
these people were here since like Smash 4. They've been playing Smash Bros competitively since like before I was in high school.
yeah,
So, or even middle school even. So I'm
yeah,
just getting
a
into
long
it.
time.
Yeah, they've been around a long time. But then going to the locals, and I went to locals most of the time every week. I would go to the
Wow.
weeklies. So pretty much every week I was going to an in-person tournament and being able to just be part of the community, and then of course the obvious competitive practice
Yeah.
made a big difference against people who were better than me. So I would not be where I am in the game right now if it was not for locals. Like not even close, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely. A huge part of the Smash
Yeah.
community and Smash esports. I mean, what is it like? I guess the experience is obviously very different. I mean, how is it now that you're competing here, and a lot of times you're not, at a LAN, you're not at a
Yeah.
local. The guy's
Yeah.
halfway across the country. I mean, what's the difference like for you?
It's the difference is so it can be really surreal sometimes where it's like, if this was in person, like you feel like you can feel the energy of the venue, even if it's
Yeah,
just local, since they have such a tight-knit community and a lot of times stories in between. There's energy behind the sets. There's a meaning behind it. But when you're only playing online across, those stories are only the ones that you come up with your team surrounding. They don't generally involve the other person since they are so far away. That means you probably don't know them that well. So with singles and stuff here, a lot of the times the stories here tends to be the stories between Chris or Keegan and I about this player that we had both played against. So it changes the environment of it, but it's still in no way like a bad thing because it's kind of two different worlds.
yeah. Oh, 100%. And I
Yeah,
think we do a good job here, like we said, having the players, everyone there supporting
exactly.
each other,
It,
even though you
it,
can't be in person. So,
Yeah, it can really kind of make up for the lack of energy because some people thrive off of that energy, just of how they are.
yeah,
Like a lot of times, I'm kind of, as always, I'm the outlier in a lot of this
yeah,
stuff of how I function. But oftentimes you'll find people either they play their best with headphones on, not listening to anyone zoned in,
yeah,
or you'll find people who are fueled by the crowd. And it's those people that really kind of get left on the outs by playing online, playing by themselves. But having a team around you can kind of simulate that and kind of bring it back into life. So it can really make a whole different experience playing with a team as opposed to being in a local.
100%. And, speaking of the team, you are only a freshman.
I am.
So that means 3 more years here at
Hope
Valpo.
hopefully.
Hopefully, unless you go crazy and you graduate in 3 years, right? That's always a
Hey, that's
possibility.
one less year of tuition.
That's true.
That is one.
But likely three more
Li-
years.
Likely 3 more years.
Which is a long time, for you
hmm
to kind of grow as a player and, grow within this program with this team. What is your vision and your kind of goals going
Oh
forward
man,
here?
that's that's really diving into some stuff. Um, Finding your goals in a competitive game is so important, and just for pretty much any game. And personally, my goal is kind of open-ended, which isn't ideal.
Yeah.
You generally want a more specific goal, but I don't really have one set at this moment.
Mhm.
But my general goal has always been I want to improve. Like I want to just get better, which is an extremely general goal. I would recommend being more specific with your goals here.
Yes.
But when I first started in general, I wanted to basically what I told myself is I wanted to prove that I could do it.
Hmm.
Like I could prove myself to be able to succeed in this field, uh, this area. Basically,
Yes.
yeah, this field that is a pretty good word for it.
Yeah.
And I also set a side goal for myself of I wanted to do it with Pitt, but that's kind of like a side goal to it. That's not a whole esport wide goal, but
Right.
that goal is kind of stuck with me for the time that I've been playing, and I
Hmm.
can very easily see it continuing for the 3 years. I just want to show that I want to prove to myself that I am capable of being able to succeed in these areas that I put so much time into. I've already put in 3 years. What's three more?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
I just want to be able to prove to myself, and of course, that people around me, but mainly just for myself. I want to be able to prove that, hey, I can do it if I put in the time.
Yeah, well, you certainly have performed, very well in your first year.
Hmm.
Lots of great clips, like we talked about, and performances throughout all these matches in your first year. So,
Yeah.
we're definitely, glad to have you here for 3 more years, and looking forward.
Depending on who you ask, specifically Chris, they might disagree, but hey, that's fine.
Most of us are glad and looking
Most
forward.
add the asterisk there.
Yes, yes, lots of asterisks here for Chris. So. Oh man. But yes. Well
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's gonna pretty much close us out here. Thanks for coming on and,
of course, yeah.
chatting through a little bit of your story. Do you have any other final thoughts, shout outs, concerns?
Oh geez, thoughts, shoutouts, concerns. Oh boy. That's a dangerous thing. You basically just gave me Xenoblade rant time. No, I'm
Starting the timer.
no, I'm not gonna go off on one of those.
Okay.
Man, basically just my robotics team, basically.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I shout out their
Go
name?
for it. Yeah.
Um, Actually, they changed their name this year. It used to be Cryonics. Team 15, FRC Team 1555 Cryonics is now same number, so FRC 1555 Cryofrost, I believe. And they
Okay.
actually had won an event over the weekend, I believe.
Oh,
I checked,
nice.
and that was really nice to see. But that is the robotics team that I've been referencing this whole time of where I really got my start. I'd done robotics for 7 years, so that was obviously a really big part of my life, where I became interested in mechanical engineering, which eventually got me here,
Hmm.
and was also where the center that I got my start in esports. So very, very big part of my life it became.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's pretty much what I would like to shout out there, that it really made a big impact on me.
Yeah. 100%. Well, yeah. Once again, thanks for coming on and
Thanks
giving
for
that
having me. I had a
giving
fun time. Yeah.
giving that shout out to the robotics team. Definitely glad they made that influence on you to get you
Yep.
here. So, but yeah, that is going to close us out. So, this is going to be the end of our weekend breakdown. But tomorrow, you can actually see this guy in action, I believe.
Yeah, we do have a match tomorrow. I was actually checking that before I came to be
Yes.
sure. Yes, we
So
do have a match tomorrow for NECC.
Yes, so at 6 o'clock, you can tune in again to watch our NECC Smash Bros. Game. But for today, that's going to do it for us. I'm Mike,
I'm Weston, CQ9.
and we will see you next time.